Well, I hope you're sitting comfortably because the World Cup in 2030 is going to be in 6 countries in 3 different continents. The main hosts of the tournament are going to be Spain, Portugal and Morocco, but also there are going to be games. The first 3 games are going to be in Uruguay, Argentina and Paraguay. And those first 3 games will feature Uruguay, Argentina and Paraguay. Now, I know a lot of people will be asking, why are games being held in South America as well? Because in 2030, it will be the centenary of the first World Cup. The first World Cup tournament was held in Uruguay in 1930, and it was won by Uruguay as well. And Uruguay and Argentina and Paraguay and Chile actually wanted to host the World Cup in 2030, as well as Spain, Portugal and Morocco. So I think there's been some deals going on behind closed doors at FIFA. Some very powerful men have been speaking to each other, saying kind of, you know, you scratch my back, I'll scratch your back. Why don't we have this big World Cup where everyone is going to be happy? There are going to be games in Europe, Africa and South America as well. But the flip side of this is fans will be complaining because they will be saying, how are we going to afford to follow our teams? For instance, what happens if England are drawn to play the opening game against Uruguay? England fans would have to travel to South America. Then they would have to come back to Europe or maybe even Morocco in Africa if the games were being held there as well. So it is controversial, it is complicated, but FIFA believe that this is the best solution for the 2030 World Cup.
We're talking about sustainability today. It'll be interesting what the World Cup organisers make of that in terms of the travel involved, as you say. It is early days to get the reaction. That's the 2030 World Cup, the Uruguay, Argentina, Paraguay, and then the European leg in Spain, Portugal and Morocco. What about 2034? Are there any knock-ons there?
Well, this is where it gets very interesting because Saudi Arabia wanted to host the World Cup in 2030 as well. And they were considering a joint bid with Greece and Egypt. But I think they have decided now to focus on 2034. And what has just been announced today, I think, helps Saudi Arabia's case as well. And I'll explain to you why. Normally, World Cups generally are rotated around continents, so they take it in turns. There's a World Cup in Europe, then the next one is in South America, then the next one is in Africa, the next one is in Asia. What we're going to have in 2030 is a World Cup that is going to be in Europe, Africa and South America as well. So those 3 confederations will have used up their go. So in 2034, FIFA will be inviting somebody from Asia and also somebody from Oceania to host the World Cup. Now, you don't have to be a conspiracy theorist to work out that who is going to try and host the World Cup in 2034 from Asia, who is going to be the overwhelming favourites to get that tournament. It is, of course, going to be in Saudi Arabia. OK,
very interesting, isn't it, the permutations of it all. We've seen big reveals from FIFA in the past to reveal tournament hosts. We've seen big campaigns as well, national heroes from various countries involved to win the rights to host. This seems quite different, doesn't it, a press release?
Well, we had it as well this morning with UEFA as well when it comes to the Euros, basically saying that the only bid standing now is UK and Ireland. It's going to be confirmed next Tuesday that UK and Ireland will host the Euros in 2028. And you are exactly right. We are used to, in the old days, having these controversial votes, lots of bids, very, very competitive, allegations of corruption, allegations of bribery. We've all seen what's gone on in the past at FIFA and UEFA as well. But that all seems to have changed. Everything now seems to be done behind closed doors, in the corridors of power. There doesn't seem to be an appetite for votes and, you know, bids and people to put their cases. Even when it comes to the president of FIFA, you know, I've been at lots of elections where people have been standing to become the FIFA president, and they've been really hard-fought elections. But now it's almost done. Gianni Infantino standing unopposed, elected by acclamation.
Why is that?
We had the same with Alexander Sheffirin at UEFA as well. I think, well, if you were cynical, you would say that, you know, because of the modern media, there is so much scrutiny that it is best to make these decisions behind closed doors. And if at all possible, let's all get round a table, thrash this out and come up with a solution that everyone is happy with. So instead of the World Cup just being in Spain or just being in Portugal or just being in Morocco or just being in Uruguay, we get something that everybody is happy with. Let's have it in Spain, Portugal, Uruguay. Let's have it everywhere. But what about the fans? And also, importantly, what about the players? Now, speaking to people at FIFA today, they are telling me that this will all be taken care of. For instance, the release dates for the players, they're not going to be required for any longer than they would be for a normal World Cup. And also, I think FIFA are going to try, I don't know quite how, but they're going to try and make sure that travel is kept to an absolute minimum for players and supporters as well.